America history. The first people to arrive in North America were Native Americans. They came from Asia thousands of years ago, and they developed a variety of complex cultures. Native Americans were the first to explore and map the continent. They also developed sophisticated agricultural and hunting techniques. In the late 15th century, European explorers began to arrive in North America. The first European to set foot on American soil was Christopher Columbus in 1492. Other European explorers soon followed, including Giovanni de Verrazzano, Jacques Cartier, and Henry Hudson. European colonization of North America began in the early 17th century. The first permanent English settlement was Jamestown, Virginia, which was founded in 1607. Other English settlements soon followed, including Plymouth Colony, Massachusetts, and New Amsterdam, New York. The English colonies in North America grew rapidly. By the mid-18th century, there were 13 colonies with a population of over 2 million people. The colonies were economically self-sufficient, and they had developed their own political institutions. The American Revolution began in 1775, when the 13 colonies rebelled against British rule. The colonists fought for their independence from Great Britain, and they won in 1783. The American Revolution was a turning point in American history, and it led to the creation of the United States of America. The early years of the United States were difficult. The new nation was struggling to establish its government and economy. However, the United States grew rapidly in the 19th century. The country expanded westward, and its population grew to over 50 million people by the end of the century. The United States became a major world power in the 20th century. The country played a leading role in both world wars, and it emerged from World War II as the most powerful nation in the world. The United States also played a major role in the Cold War, and it emerged from the Cold War as the world's only superpower. Today, the United States is a global leader in politics, economics, and culture. The country is home to a diverse population of over 330 million people. The United States is a vibrant and dynamic democracy, and it continues to play an important role in the world. Here's a brief timeline of some of the major events in American history. 1492, Christopher Columbus sails to the Americas. 1607, Jamestown, Virginia, is founded. 1775, the American Revolution begins. 1783, the Treaty of Paris ends the American Revolution and recognizes the United States of America as an independent country. 1803, the United States purchases the Louisiana Territory from France. 1861, the American Civil War begins. 1865, the American Civil War ends. 1917, the United States enters World War I. 1941, the United States enters World War II. 1945, World War II ends and the United States emerges as a global superpower. 1954, the Supreme Court rules that racial segregation in public schools is unconstitutional. 1964, the Civil Rights Act is passed. 1965, the Voting Rights Act is passed. 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin land on the moon. 1989, the Berlin Wall falls and the Cold War ends. 2008, Barack Obama is elected the first African American president of the United States. 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic begins. 1492, Christopher Columbus sails to the Americas. On August 3, 1492, Christopher Columbus set sail from Palos de la Frontera, Spain, with 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. He was in search of a new route to the Indies, the lands of spices and other precious Oriental goods that were obtainable only through arduous overland routes. Columbus was a skilled navigator, and he had carefully studied the prevailing winds and currents of the Atlantic Ocean. He believed that he could sail west to reach the Indies, and he was determined to prove it. The voyage was long and difficult. The crew faced many challenges, including storms, illness, and dwindling supplies. But Columbus persisted, and on October 12, 1492, he made landfall on an island in the Bahamas. Columbus believed that he had reached the Indies, but he was mistaken. He had actually landed in the Americas, which were unknown to Europeans at the time. Columbus made 4 voyages to the Americas, and he explored many islands in the Caribbean Sea and the coast of Central and South America. Columbus's voyages had a profound impact on the world. They led to the European colonization of the Americas, and they changed the course of world history. The significance of Columbus's voyages. Columbus's voyages were significant for a number of reasons. First, they marked the beginning of European exploration and colonization of the Americas. Second, they led to the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures between Europe and the Americas. Third, they helped to establish the Atlantic Ocean as a major trade route. Columbus's voyages also had a number of negative consequences. They led to the enslavement and displacement of millions of Native Americans. They also contributed to the spread of diseases such as smallpox and measles, which decimated Native American populations. Despite their negative consequences, Columbus's voyages are still considered to be one of the most important events in world history. They marked the beginning of a new era of exploration and discovery, and they helped to shape the world we live in today. Columbus's legacy. Columbus's legacy is complex and controversial. He is both admired and reviled for his role in the European colonization of the Americas. Some people admire Columbus for his courage, determination, and navigational skills. They argue that his voyages were a great achievement and that they led to the discovery of new lands and cultures. Others revile Columbus for the negative consequences of his voyages. They argue that he was responsible for the enslavement and displacement of millions of Native Americans, and that he contributed to the spread of diseases that decimated Native American populations. Regardless of one's opinion of Columbus, there is no doubt that he was a significant figure in world history. His voyages changed the course of history, and their impact is still felt today. The founding of Jamestown, Virginia, in 1607 was a pivotal moment in American history. It was the first permanent English settlement in North America, and it laid the foundation for the eventual establishment of the United States. Jamestown was founded by the Virginia Company of London, a joint stock company that was chartered by King James I in 1606. The company's goal was to establish a colony in North America that would produce gold and other valuable commodities. The first settlers arrived at Jamestown in May 1607. They were a diverse group of people, including gentlemen, craftsmen, and laborers. The settlers were poorly prepared for the challenges of life in the New World, and they faced many hardships. In the early years of the colony, many settlers died from disease, starvation, and conflict with Native Americans. However, the colony survived, and it eventually grew into a thriving settlement. Jamestown played an important role in the development of American society. It was the first place where English settlers learned how to survive in the New World. The colony also served as a base for English exploration and trade in North America. Jamestown was also a place of great significance for Native Americans. The colony's arrival led to conflict and displacement for many Native American tribes. However, Native Americans also played an important role in the development of the colony. They taught the settlers how to grow crops and survive in the New World. The founding of Jamestown was a significant event in American history. It laid the foundation for the eventual establishment of the United States, and it had a profound impact on the lives of both Native Americans and English settlers. Here are some of the lasting legacies of Jamestown. It was the first permanent English settlement in North America. It laid the foundation for the eventual establishment of the United States. It helped to develop English exploration and trade in North America. It was a place of great significance for Native Americans. It helped to shape the culture and identity of the United States. The American Revolution began on April 19, 1775, with the battles of Lexington and Concord. The colonists fought for their independence from Great Britain, and they won in 1783. The American Revolution was a turning point in American history, and it led to the creation of the United States of America. The causes of the American Revolution were complex and varied. Some of the main causes included taxation without representation. The colonists felt that they were being taxed by Great Britain without having any say in how the money was being spent. Economic restrictions. Great Britain placed a number of economic restrictions on the colonies, which made it difficult for them to trade with other countries. Military occupation. Great Britain maintained a military presence in the colonies, which the colonists saw as a threat to their liberty. A growing sense of American identity. The colonists began to see themselves as Americans rather than British subjects. They developed their own culture and political institutions. The American Revolution was a long and bloody war. The Continental Army, which was made up of American colonists, was led by General George Washington. The British Army was led by a number of different generals, including Generals William Howe, Henry Clinton, and Charles Cornwallis. The Continental Army won a number of important victories, including the Battle of Saratoga in 1777. This victory convinced France to support the American cause. In 1781, the Continental Army defeated the British at the Battle of Yorktown. This victory effectively ended the war. The Treaty of Paris was signed in 1783, which officially ended the war. The treaty recognized the United States of America as an independent country. The American Revolution was a defining moment in American history. It led to the creation of the United States of America, and it set the stage for the development of American democracy.